What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line on Sports, our show about the intersection between sports and money. He's Jeremy Pink. I'm Jean Jacques Taylor. And this week's number, 35 million. That, my friend, is the bonus pool for the NBA players in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. Were you sh when I read that number, were you shocked by how low it was?
Okay, let me put it like this. I was not shocked by how low it was because I didn't view it that way. I was more like that doesn't seem enough to inspire people who make
That's what I
four
mean. Yeah,
million
yeah.
dollars a year. So
Are
it's
you
the same thing. I just looked at it
yeah.
just we looked at it the same way. I just looked at it like
Well,
somebody who doesn't have an MBA. And so
but
but I was like, what that's like chump change, man. You
well,
know,
it looks like so I looked up like SGA, right? So SGA is, let's say OKC is most likely to win the title, right?
yeah.
So the winning, if you're on a championship team, your bonus is going to be $828,000. Okay. This is for the entirety of the playoffs. Okay. SGA's salary, assuming he played 82 games, I did the math. He makes $438,000 per game. So it would be two regular season games or more than his playoff share, and that's if they win the championship. And like
It's
it's like Joker was. I just did the math. Like Joker and Luca were both over 600,000 per regular season game. So
yes, it's absurd to me. Um, and that's why money is not a motivator, nor is it a deterrent in the NBA. And I say that if you branch it out just a little bit, Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley were talking about how you stop tanking, and maybe Draymond Green said, "Oh, you can find the teams. There's not enough money you can find billionaires to make it hurt.
right, right,
It's just not,
right.
and all they do is write it off, and so
Yeah.
it's pointless.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know,
you have to create an incentive for winning. Right now, there's an incentive for losing, which is you get the highest draft choices. So you just got to figure out what is an incentive for winning. That's the
now
only way they're going to stop tanking.
now one thing was the incentive for winning is we just put the same. Everybody's got the same. If you're in a lottery, you got a ball. You got one ball, and so there's 13 or there, however many lottery teams are. So everybody in the lottery has exactly the same chance to win to get the pick, and so that way, I don't. I would think it would prohibit it some just because the odds are so small you're going to get it that it's not worth blowing your whole season for,
Right, right.
unless
And
of course that one guy out there.
yeah, yeah, there's got to be something. It's also not worth trading your whole roster, to try to do poorly to try to get a big, better pick, one year
Yeah,
or the next year. Yeah. And like this year I think the tanking is particularly acute because there's like 8 or 9 really good players that are likely to come out in this draft. Whereas, a couple of years ago when Rishad Shea was like the number one pick and nobody who knew who any of the top 10 picks were,
right.
that was totally different. But this year there is a lot of incentive to lose because you're going to get a good player.
Yeah. So if we take it back to the original topic, how much money would inspire a guy like? I think they just want to win a championship. I don't think the money. Once you get to the playoffs, I don't think the money, any kind of bonus, inspires you to do anything.
Yeah, I think the bonus matters to guys, 10 to 15 on the roster, you know, maybe some,
I was gonna say it might matter to them, and
maybe.
I think I'll put it like this: maybe it matters because I believe this. Most teams, like say the Thunder win a championship again, and their bonus is whatever it is, $12 million for winning.
Hmm.
I think most of those teams go, "Hey, let's give the equipment guys three
Yeah, I
hundred
think that's
thousand
right.
dollars.
I think that's right.
Let's give the trainers $500,000." And
Mhm.
so for those people, that's life changing. Let's give the ball boy 100,000. You
Right.
know, I think they do stuff like that because the reality of it is it's sofa change money for them, for
Uh-huh.
most of them,
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't change their life one iota. And so I think they use that money to. I think a lot of teams use that money to help, their support staff.
Hmm.
Uh, because again, if you're Joe Blow and you make $100,000 or you make $150,000, and somebody says, "Oh, here's a $400,000 bonus," no, your life has changed.
Of course, of course. Yeah, let's hope it's used for that because there's a tremendous number of people who make these NBA franchises go who don't make any significant amount of money.
Yeah. And with that, my friend, let's shift into okay. I thought this was interesting. We were looking at the top selling jerseys, and you know what we should have done? These are things you think about in
Yeah, yeah,
advance.
sure.
We should have gone back and got the list of the top selling jerseys from 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I bet Steph Curry's on there and
So that
LeBron
would be,
is.
hold on, I'll do it. Well, top selling jerseys, NBA jerseys. So that
And
would
I
be
bet Kevin Durant's on there. And
2015 to 2016. All right, let's just do it.
I bet those are the three on there. Steph Curry,
It's our show. We
LeBron
can
was
do it.
probably
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah. So Curry's still number one. Did that surprise you or not?
Not, let me see. No, here's why.
Guess who was
Here's
number
why.
by the way, guess who was number one in 2015, 2016?
It had to be LeBron.
Curry.
Curry?
Yeah.
Oh, they were probably winning championships then.
Yeah.
Here's why Curry doesn't surprise me. Number one, high likability factor.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody hates Steph Curry. Nobody's debating whether he's a chump or a punk or everybody just loves Steph Curry. Number two, he's the everyman fan guy. Everybody can shoot threes. That's just practice and effort. Work.
Right.
Everybody can't do LeBron.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's not 6'9", 280.
Yeah. No,
42-inch vertical.
he has greater appeal, and you can also emulate what Steph does on the court if
That's
you're
what I mean.
yeah.
So he's got likability. He's got a game you can emulate. And up until the last year or two, his team's been a winner. But I think he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
People like the worst thing you hear about Steph Curry is his wife doesn't treat him good enough. That's literally the worst thing you hear.
Right.
That Aisha should appreciate him more.
Right.
Really, that's what you hear about him. Other than that, he's got no scandal next to him.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
I think that's why his jersey's number one.
Yeah. Well, he's also a transformational player. I mean, he transformed, or he was the face that transformed the NBA into the 3-point era. He really was. Now,
Yeah, not just the face, he did things.
yeah, exactly. So
I saw something the other day, man. It's not even a positive, but it's Steph Curry impact. It must have been on some kind of TikTok or Twitter thing. And you know what it was? It was some 5-year-old who could really play for 5 years old. Like, I mean, he could go between. I mean, he had great handles and stuff. Got a steal, and a 5-year-old pulled up from three.
that's crazy.
Well, yeah, because that's how I ain't no basketball expert, but that's how you develop horrible habits because you're not strong enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're launching it as opposed to shooting it.
Right.
But the fact that he wanted to pull up from three is all about Steph Curry.
100%. 100%. I think that's right. So what I thought, okay, so if you look at the list of the top 5 jerseys for this year, top 5 selling jerseys for this year are Curry was 1, Luka was 2, Brunson was 3. Jalen Brunson from the Knicks was 3. Wemby was 4th, and LeBron was 5th. And
okay, now if you look at that, Jalen Brunson is all about the New York factor.
well, you know what's interesting about that is I'm looking at the list from 2015 to 2016. The 4th best-selling jersey, and this will get a laugh from you, I guarantee you, the 4th best-selling jersey in 2015, 2016 was who?
Carmelo.
Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, he was with the Knicks.
Wow.
He was huge. He was huge here for the Knicks. So, but it does show you like the power of, even though the Knicks haven't really,
the
they're
Knicks
kind
like
of
the
okay.
Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, so
their fan base is always going to be, this is our year, and they're going to be disappointed at the end of the year.
But more importantly, Curry was number 1, Luka was 2, and Brunson was 3, which means that 2 former Dallas Mavericks players are 2 and 3. Just so you know that.
And Cooper Flag is over there at number 9.
Yeah.
So that's 3 of the top 10. That's how we do these things.
Yeah, right.
All right, Dallas Mavericks. And
Right.
Cooper Flag, let me tell you something, brother. Cooper Flag will probably crack the top 5 next year. And here's why. What is it about Cooper Flag on this list that stands out?
Well, he's 19, so he's the youngest on the list.
That's positive. That's true.
And so there's an appeal there. He is the only white American player on the list. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Now, and that's just pure marketing.
That's true
That's
because
pure marketing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's something, and just like, and I'm serious, just like black kids grow up and say, "Oh, I want to be Jalen Brunson. I want to be LeBron James."
Yeah.
Here's a guy who's a high flyer, terrific player, 19 years old. I want to be Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's cracking top 5 next year. Plus, the Mavericks will be a better team next year
Yeah.
because Kyrie will be back.
Well,
They'll have whatever lottery pick.
you think so? You think he'll crack the top 5? Because I think you've got.
Dude, let me tell you something. I see him because he's in Dallas every year,
Yeah.
every night. I wasn't when they took him number 1. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, he's supposed to be the best player in the draft. Yeah, okay. That dude is phenomenal, man.
He's got. I mean, there was like a switch that turned on right around the first of the year where he went from being a rookie to starting to play like a
Man.
very. I mean, he's got a very very veteran like game in terms of it's amazing. Yeah.
I've got another podcast, Jop Talk, that's really about Dallas sports and lifestyle. And we were talking about this probably 2 months ago because you could see it coming. And I was like, he's going to be averaging like 28, 8, and 8 in 2 years, maybe 3. And it's only based on the development of his 3-point shot because he's a worker. And so he's shooting like 30% right now.
Uh-huh.
In 2 years, just because he'll work at it, that thing will be 37%. That'll be 6 or 7, 8 more points a game just because he's making threes.
Mm-hmm.
And his points per game will shoot up. But he averaged like 23, 6, and 6 the last since
Oh
January.
yeah. Oh yeah. So I think the 2 players at the top of the list next year are probably the top 3 players next year are because I think Curry's going to dip a little bit next year, and LeBron's at number 5. He'll probably stick around there. I think I agree with you. I think they are Wemby, Cooper Flag, and Luka. I think Luka still stays up there pretty high because he's in the Los Angeles market.
Yeah, plus Luka, man. You know, Luka is so good, he gets hate. And hate, the definition of hate, because a lot of y'all don't know the definition of hate. The definition of hate is unjustified criticism. So when you're hating on something, your criticism is unjustified because somebody's doing really good at something and you're just being negative. He gets a lot of hate because he's the best offensive player in the league. Now, I didn't say he was the best player in the league.
Yeah.
He's certainly not the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
He's the best offensive player in the league.
Yeah.
You know, so he's going to be up there. I wouldn't be surprised for him to be number 1 because he's going to do his thing again. Well, you know, he doesn't have the personality of a Wemby.
Yeah.
I don't think Cooper Flag cracks the top 3. I think he'll be in the top 5.
So do I.
But somebody's got to be 3. Maybe it'll be Jalen Brunson.
It could be Curry, could be Brunson. I mean, I can't believe Brunson's 3, but you know, could be Brunson.
I don't think any of these other guys are making a move up.
Right. It's not like SGA, who might be the best player in the last 10 years if he, you know, leads OKC to another championship, wins another MVP, and then is named Finals MVP. Not that many players in history have done all of those things.
But
yeah, he's no one, you know, he plays in a middle market. He doesn't have an exciting game. I'm surprised he's even that high.
All right, like, no, you know what it is? And I was this makes sense to me. So I had another project today, and we were doing a bunch of interviews as part of we were doing shooting a commercial for some people at a rehab center, and so we were talking to some rehab people, and two people, the one occupational therapist, one physical therapist, both of them gave outstanding answers to the questions I was asking them. Here's the difference: one of them had just a normal everyday personality, and the other one was just, I mean,
Of
her
course.
her her charisma
Of
just for
course.
sitting in a
Yeah.
chair was just off the charts.
Uh-huh.
And when we got done, I told the director, I go, "That's the one right there."
Right. Of course. Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
You got to go this way. And
Yeah.
so SGA don't have that personality. You know what I'm saying?
I
Neither does
do.
Jason
I do.
Tatum.
Yeah.
You know who's got it? Anthony Edwards has it.
He can if he wants it. Yeah.
Right.
If he wants to.
There's a
Yeah.
question.
So the factors, I think there's three or four factors that go into it. One is the personality slash likability, which is,
Right.
you're talking, that's Curry. One is the demographic. You mentioned that with Cooper Flag. He's a specific
Yeah.
demographic. Another one is the location where you play.
No,
And another
absolutely.
one is, do you guys win or not? And if you win a lot or not, you're likely on TV a lot. That's why.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it's interesting. I was looking at the top 10 jersey sales from 2015 to 2016 during the kind of the height of the Warriors' heyday. Curry was one,
Splash the brother.
Klay Thompson was 7, and Draymond Green was 8.
Like, why does anybody want Draymond Green's jersey? You know what I mean? Like, I understand why
Right.
you want Klay Thompson's jersey, but
Right.
Draymond Green, he's just dirty work.
Right.
That's a matter of winning and on TV all the time.
Right.
See, like, if we were just talking about best players, SGA would be up there. Tyrese Maxey, who's actually from Dallas, would be. I mean, he would be up there because he's phenomenal, man. Cade Cunningham is from Dallas. He would be up there.
Yeah. Well,
but those guys don't have any personality.
they're in the top 15, which also means like LaMelo is 15, which means LaMelo's very popular among like the younger crowd.
He's popular with the crowd that represents everything that's wrong with society today. That's the crowd he's popular with, and we all know kids who fit into that category. He's that kid. So he's popular. I'm not even surprised.
Right.
And all of us know a kid who knows a kid like him, and we're
Right.
just like. And then we tell our kids, you can't hang around that kid all the time.
Right. Exactly.
You can hang around with him a little bit, but you can't be with them all the time.
Yeah.
They can't be in your top 5.
That was a. I saw the end of it. That was a ridiculous game last night between the Heat and between Charlotte and the Heat. It's crazy.
Okay, see, I'm a rewind for a minute. You see the way the Hornets were jumping around and just going crazy after they won? Had nothing to do with any kind of bonus they were getting.
Fair. That's totally fair.
That's why the bonus doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's the desire to win that drives everything.
Yeah. That was a big deal because they had a sort of a 25 game. They sort of had a 25 game improvement from last year this year in terms of wins, roughly that amount. And it was, I think, the first playoff game that they've had in like 10 years, and they won it. Now, are they gonna win, and actually get into the real playoffs? Who knows? But I don't think it matters anymore. I think they just needed to have that one win. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think that is what their incentive is to do that. Is to win.
What about Jokic and Durant? You surprised at where they are? Thought they'd be higher?
Jokic is
Jokic could be higher. He's one of the best players in the league.
Jokic is 10th.
Man.
Jokic is 10th, and Durant doesn't surprise me as 11 because he's not playing in a marquee market necessarily. Although it's a big city, but it's not a marquee market. And Jokic is Jokic is a great player, but he's like a grudgingly great player. Everybody knows he's great, but he's not, he's
not exciting great.
Yeah, he's not exciting. He's like, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great player. His statistics this year are insane, just insane. And he's not going to win the MVP. But you can make the case that he should have won he could have won the MVP for each of the last like 5 or 6 years pretty easily. Yeah.
And then what about LeBron holding there at 5? I don't, LeBron has been around so long that now people hate him.
Right.
It's like,
I think
can you believe? And I'm just like, y'all are hating him, and he's 41, and he still on a given night can go 30, 10, and 10. Now he can't do it every night anymore,
oh, I
but
think
he can still do it.
yeah, so they're playing the Rockets in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you got Luca and Austin Reeves are out. And let's say Luca and Austin Reeves don't end up playing in the series. You're telling me he's not the best player in that series? Seriously, who's better than him? There's
Um,
nobody on either team who are better than him. There's people on either team like Thompson's a better defender and he's got
right.
more hops, and you got Durant is probably better pure scorer, but who's an overall better player? Nobody.
And
And
he's
that's
41
remarkable.
years
Yeah,
old.
it's remarkable. Yeah. So you can't
You
you
know,
can't you can't really argue that. Yeah, but I think LeBron, I think 5 is sort of the top for LeBron now. The only caveat would be if he announces that next year is his farewell season, then he might rise a little bit. But if he doesn't, I think 5 is about the top for him.
right. Bottom line for me, look for Cooper Flagg to make an amazing run into the top 5 next year as his fellow white Americans realize he's the only one on the list who can ball.
Yeah. But bottom line for me, there's going to be a surprise entrance into the top 10 next year, either from the rookie class or from a star that emerges from the playoffs in the next couple of months.
Now, moving on, the NFL rights package. The Department of Justice now is peeking at them. All I know is, just from my own personal life, you
Uh-huh.
never like the Department of Justice looking into your
Yeah,
business.
that's true. That's true. It's so what the DOJ is basically looking at is something related to, what we often talk about in our spare time, which is the NFL Broadcasting Act of 1961. And
Okay, what is that?
that essentially means that the government carved out an antitrust exemption for the NFL so they can
Right,
negotiate television rights collectively with the 3 networks, because otherwise it would have been illegal for them to negotiate collectively. That would have violated antitrust law. So the reason they did that is to facilitate the games being on network television. There were 3 networks at the time.
right,
What's happened since then is that you have the Amazons of the world, the ESPNs of the world, and other streamers and network, other cable networks that are buying packages, or buying NFL games. That's not covered. That's not covered under the Broadcasting Act.
right.
So they're still bargaining collectively with them. So the league is still doing collective bargaining. So that's sort of the sticking point. That is Department of Justice saying, well, hold on a second. Is that legal? Number one. And number two is part of the reason the antitrust exemption was carved out was to allow greater access so people could actually watch the games. And now the question is it now, where does it sit? It's really a gray area. I'm not sure how it gets resolved. The NFL, for its part, says 87% of its games are on one of the major networks. But okay, but a lot of the good games and a lot of the higher profile games are
Yeah.
behind a paywall. So where does it go? Where does it give?
I don't know. This is kind of interesting. Um, and at one level, I'm not sure how much it matters to me because I'm just going to buy what I want to watch anyway. And maybe that's the whole thing. But I'm not. I'm not so into myself that I go. Well, everybody just can't say I'm just going to buy what I want to watch
Right.
anyway. So, you being the unbiased observer, what would be the fairest thing to do?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question. I think that there needs to be a minimum requirement of games on broadcast network. And
Okay.
I think that it's not just an absolute number of games. There has to be some determination of there has to be a certain level of quality of game that
Yeah, you
appears.
just can't give us Cleveland and whoever else stinks
Yeah,
every.
Cleveland. You can't give us Cleveland and Cincinnati, which is what we got all the time growing up in Columbus. Was only Cleveland and Cincinnati. But you can't give us Cleveland against Cincinnati or Cleveland against Jacksonville or something every week. There has to be, so there has to be some level of specificity that X percentage of games have to be over broadcast air. B, Y percentage of playoff games have to be on broadcast networks, and C, some element of the top games of the week need to also be on, need to be on network television. I think that's going to be the fairest way to do it. And then
Right.
I also think it's almost impossible to say, okay, Amazon, you can negotiate however, if the NFL can't negotiate collectively the TV rights, who does Amazon actually negotiate with? You know?
Right.
And so then does it become Amazon says, okay, we're going to negotiate with the Dallas Cowboys and we're going to have an Amazon Dallas Cowboys package. Is that how that works? So I just think that by removing the collective bargaining on, the NFL's collective bargaining for media rights, I think that opens up a whole other
So you
whole
don't
other
want to, nah, you don't want to do that because I guarantee, I'll bet you everything that's in my 401k, and I'm actually at 7 digits now.
That's
That,
great, man. Congratulations.
thank you. That the Cowboys would be first in line
Of
to
course.
say, "Hey, hey, we're open for business."
Of course. And the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah, with no question about it. And it's kind of like it's not exactly the same, but look at what Notre Dame did in college football. Notre Dame negotiates
Yeah.
its own Notre Dame negotiates its own deal. It's not the same, but that's a I don't know if that's a likelihood of this. I mean, I can't believe that they will not allow the NFL to, collectively bargain with the streamers and such. I just can't. I don't believe that. I think they'll just put a cap on the number of games that, that those guys
Now
get.
we all know the wheels of justice move slowly.
Hmm.
If they're just not poking around on it, it could be a decade before any movement happens.
Well, the negotiating windows really kind of open up in 2029.
Yeah.
And so I think there'll be some movement on it before then. But
Set
you're
it in
right.
place.
Yeah, but you're right. It could be pushed beyond that, and that this may not necessarily have a meaningful conclusion before then. And number one, and number two is there will always be an appeal if the NFL doesn't get what it thinks it wants. So that's the question. But it does, I think it does put pressure on the upcoming negotiations, because what the NFL doesn't want to do is say, all right, we're going to give 30% of our games to over-the-air broadcast, because then it opens up a can of worms. I think what it's probably doing, it's designed to put some pressure on the NFL to sort of maintain, as many games as can as deemed necessary or possible on the networks, so it doesn't incur any issues from the Department of Justice. So I think it's almost a deterrence, not the right word, but it's almost well, wait a second, guys, we're paying attention, so just be careful how you renegotiate your deals.
Yeah, we're looking at you, so do the right thing so we don't have to get involved, kind of thing.
I think so, but then again, it's the Department of Justice, and you never know. You never know, and also the Department of Justice could change dramatically in 2028 or
Oh
the
yeah.
beginning of 2029. So you just don't know.
Now the question I always like to ask, because I'm a journalist at heart, is okay, we just talked a bunch of very high level intellectual mumbo jumbo.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean for your everyday fan? What does this mean? Why does your everyday fan? What does this mean for Joe Schmo, the everyday Cleveland Browns fan?
No, it's painful. It's painful to figure out where all the games are. There's two things that have happened. One is that you got to pay for a lot of them, and two is it used to be on three networks. Now it's on something like 10, or you can watch them in 10 or 11 places, you know? So,
Yeah,
um, so I think that's what the issue is so if I'm a consumer, the question really becomes, when do you reach that point where you create a barrier for the consumer and he or she says, you know what, I'm just not going to watch it this week and I'll wait for the playoffs, or I'm just not going to watch it this week and I know there's a Monday night game and I'll watch that. I don't know when that happens. It may
well,
it
that's
may
a,
happen.
a great
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Can that happen to the NFL? Because it's so ingrained into so much of society. I can see how it could happen to other sports.
Mhm.
but could it happen to the NFL?
The reason it's less likely, the answer is probably not. And I think the reason it's less likely to happen in the NFL is just the scarcity of product. There are just fewer games to watch, and so there isn't a level of saturation. I do think though that going to an 18th game, if they end up doing that, might create a little bit of a level of saturation because I don't think the 18th game, based on just injury history of players in general, and is I don't think you're going to see stars playing in some of those games. So I think 17 games is right at the edge. I think 18 games kind of encroaches on that scarcity of product idea a little bit.
I'll get down with that, and here's why. The only people asking for the 18th game are billionaire owners.
Mhm.
They're the only people. It's not the fans. The fans haven't asked for 18 games. Fans didn't even ask for 17. The players sure as heck haven't asked for 18. It's only billionaire owners trying to put more cash in their already stuffed pockets. Like, seriously, looking for an 18th game. Those are the only people looking for it.
Yeah.
And because they're the only people looking for it, people will watch it, but the investment factor is different because we didn't ask for this. And the product doesn't seem to be any good because the NFL is already about attrition. Like, for the most part, the NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey, you get the best team or best teams win most of the
Right.
time.
Right.
Football, man, every year they're the healthiest team.
That's
That's
right.
why they won.
That's right. Well,
Oh,
but yeah, I agree. Yeah, for sure. There's no question about it. A potential way around it is to say there's an 18 game season, but players are only allowed to play in a maximum of 16 of those games. So if you're a starting quarterback, you can only start in 16 games.
well,
That means
see,
you have to have a backup quarterback, that can actually play. Again, I'm not sure what that does. I think that kind of complicates things, but I do think 17 games is a lot, and it feels to me like the season is too long. Um, and again, that's just a personal opinion, so that may or may not that doesn't really mean that much. But I think adding an 18th game creates that level of saturation that might be what makes you as a fan go, huh? There's a lot
yeah.
of games. I can probably skip a bunch of those now.
Well, I think you're on to something, but I don't think they'll take the quarterbacks out. I think it'll be quarterbacks can play 18, but everybody else has to sit out.
Could be, whatever. But the point is that
Yeah,
you limit the number of. But again,
and
I that
injury
creates
will
some.
share some of that.
Yeah, I mean that creates some strategy and some intrigue. I'm not sure that's any good for the game though. Because that basically means no one's going to play their starters against the Browns. Every time. So it's so I don't know how that
People
works.
like homecoming opponents.
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't know how that works, but I do think that could be sort of that's a I think they're at a critical level of is
I
there
mean,
right
like the NBA, the players and fans are like shorten the season. The
right,
NHL players and fans are like, okay, I can see why shortening the season might work. Baseball, 154 games would probably work a little bit better.
right.
Now, the most violent, physically demanding sport is like, oh no, let's increase the season.
Right, right, right. And and I think
As, I'm sorry, as, okay, check this out, man. As their players are dying, like every
right,
week, there's an
right.
NFL story. Somebody in their 50s, that seems very young to me these
Hmm.
days, is dropping dead for whatever reason.
Sure.
You don't see it like that in baseball. You don't see it like that in basketball. You don't see it like that in hockey, where guys in their 50s just just die. Yet they won another game.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's really to me that just I think that 18th game, which is by the way is going to happen, I think by 2029. If the
You think
18th,
it is or is not?
I think it is. Yeah, I
Oh,
do.
bro, it's happening.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
happening in the next couple of years.
yeah. Right. That's what I mean before. But I think it's going to be. But in any case, in terms of what happens with the for me, sort of the bottom line around the NFL and the DOJ inquiry into NFL and the antitrust exemption, the bottom line for me is that they're going to come up with an interim solution that guarantees a certain percentage of games go on the networks. That's what I think is going to happen.
Bottom line for me is anytime the DOJ is looking at you, it ain't no positive.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. So you want to talk Ohio State now? That's our favorite topic here. The Ohio State spring football game is this weekend. You excited?
Bro, I can't lie to y'all. No. I mean, uh, I was wondering if the spring game is still a thing. And maybe, it used to be a big deal. It doesn't feel like it's a big deal anymore. And maybe it's because you got the transfer portal. And so, like, why are teams still having that? Do they need to raise money? Is it a showcase? There was a time recently. I don't want anybody playing in the spring game because I don't want you jumping in the portal because somebody saw a third linebacker. Son, you can't start there,
Right.
but wow, I
Right.
love the way
Right.
you play the spring game. You
Right.
can certainly start for me, son.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, it's from an Ohio State point of view, they modified the spring game last year, and only 40,000 fans attended
the people
compared to
spoke.
compared to what it was in 2024, where 80,000 fans attended. So I think they're reverting to the traditional format this year. So and that's more just regular tackling and hitting in like a regular game. I think the spring game is a little bit outdated because often the spring game was used because people were kind of excited to see, hey, we got this really great recruit from so and so.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never seen him, but now I can see the highlights, anytime I want in like 85 different platforms. So
Right.
yes, so I think the spring game's a little bit different. I think also the spring game might give fans some indication of which players could be ascending to the first team and which players may be
Right.
taking, may not be. But it's mostly just yeah, it's if you're an Ohio State fan, it's another, data point in the year that you look forward to and you're excited about and you go to the game. Is it meaningful? I don't know.
You know what? This will determine whether it's meaningful. I need to ask my son if he's going, and that will determine if it's meaningful.
I would ask him first, when is the spring game?
In fact, before that, I'll ask him, "Do you know if there's a spring game?" And then, and then based on that answer, I'll ask him if there is one.
Right.
Yeah, I'll bring you documentation on that.
I'm actually, you don't know this. I'm actually likely going to be in Columbus this weekend, and I didn't even know there was a spring game. The spring game was this weekend. So there you go.
No, it's I guess I will probably watch the highlights. I would not watch an entire spring game. Um, Somebody will have some highlights on either social media or on maybe ESPN will roll through and
Mhm.
shoot. Now, see, this is a big. I remember when I spent the year in Jackson, 2022, I think, hanging out with Deion Sanders and doing a book on his year at Jackson State, his second season. ESPN, the man, showed up for their spring game and they blew that thing out. Like they had now their stadium seats about 65,000, but they
It's
had like
it's that
50.
big?
Oh yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that. Wow.
they had 50 plus. Now Jackson State's got the biggest stadium in the HBCU.
Yeah.
They had like 50,000 plus at their spring game, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it made sense because it drew a lot of attention to the program, and they had Shador and Travis Hunter out there. So it was a significant deal. But Ohio State as an established program, you don't want anybody hurt in the spring game. So
Yeah.
while you want to give the people a little something to look at, you don't want nobody hurt.
Right, right. We'll see what the enthusiasm level is for Ohio State this year because I think the fans are still kind of a little bit. The season kind of ended before most fans realized that the season was actually ending. It just kind of like it was hype,
It
hype,
went
hype, great, 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 and then it just kind of fizzled out at the end. It kind of didn't really have a strong ending. So we'll see. Are the fans going to be excited to show up for this? Are they going to be subdued? Or be? I think one of the more interesting aspects will be, what are the fans like there? Are they really psyched for this year? Are they not? Do
No,
they?
no, it should be interesting. They're not the favorites. So, Indiana will go into the season being the favorites.
I think
Uh,
Ohio State is the national title favorite still.
no.
I think so. And some of that may not be
Those
as a
people those people are trying to get clicks.
right, right.
There's no way you
No. I think in some of the sports books, Ohio State's the betting favorite right now.
yeah. In
Yeah,
sports books that would make sense.
yeah.
But no. It'll be interesting to see
Who,
what
who do you,
happens.
who do you think should be preseason number one? Your Texas Longhorns?
They're pretty good, bro.
Yeah,
Uh, Texas, Oregon, they got their quarterback back.
yeah,
They're always good. Um, I don't think the Buckeyes are giving all the people that they're losing.
yeah.
Uh, I don't see them as a number one. I think probably Texas.
I do too.
Texas, Texas is good.
Yeah.
Or let me say this: on paper, Texas is really good. I got to see it from Arch. I don't believe in him yet.
hmm
Um, I think here's what he is. He looks like a pretty good quarterback to me. He doesn't look like this game changer that we were sold. Now maybe he will be this year, but he can really run. What he can't do is throw with any kind of consistency.
Well, his accuracy is not that great, you know.
No, so if they, if they just let him play, he'd probably be a better player. Because go back, look, you don't see it because he's got wheels for real. I mean, he can run.
hmm
But they're so hey, stay back here and be a pocket passer, da da da. That by the time he decides to run, you get 3 yards instead
Yeah,
of 20.
yeah.
So but as they're trying to develop him, so I don't know. Texas is gonna be really good this year. They were really good last year, so yeah,
Yeah. Well,
it's
I
gonna be
think
good.
I think the Buckeyes will be right at the edge of getting in the playoff or not. That's where I think their season is this year.
If they're right on the edge, then they're in.
Of course they are. Yeah, of course they are. Ohio State, or they won't be guaranteed like Notre Dame is if they make if they're ranked in the top 12, but
No, no.
but but
Uh,
but Ohio State is a television draw and everybody wants to see
Bottom line for me, if my son knows there's a spring game, I'll turn it on and take a peek.
them. But bottom line for me, yeah, I'll probably watch the highlights and I think I'll probably forget about it about an hour after I watch the highlights.
There you go. So hey, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. 5 stars only. Otherwise, we'll take it kind of personally. He's Jeremy Pink, Jean-Jacques Taylor. This has been the Bottom Line on Sports. We'll talk with you next week.
All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks.